Good morning, my outstanding friends. I am excited. I have found, I hope, a soulmate here. This guy is Professor Dave Explains. Now, I don't know anything about him. Somebody left me a comment saying, talk to this guy. You're always complaining nobody will talk to you. Well, nobody will talk to me. Now, he's saying he can explain virtually everything I talk about. I just scrolled through real quickly, and then I watched this introduction, which I'm going to show you in a second. And if he's true to his words, I'm excited. Because, you know, he's making statements. A lot of them make statements, but not the way he's making statements when he's talking about, I really want to advance education, I want to discuss, I want to debate, I want to interact. This is what I need, somebody like that. Now, he's got 3 million subscribers, more than that, quite a bit more than that, but he's got over 3 million. That's a lot of people. Now, if they're truly interested in his explanations, well, let me put it this way. What I intend to do is to discuss my interpretation of what he's saying and what my feeling is on the subject. So I'm going to sort of go through his statements and claims in his videos, and I'll basically debate him. You know, unless he, you know, I'm hoping he'll want to engage. And if he wants to engage, I am 100% ready and willing. And, you know, I'd love to do some Zooms with him and, you know, back and forth and discuss and what mainstream is compared to what the new research is. And this is new research. It's not just some silly thing. Everything I show, I have evidence to support. It's not like even the light research, the fossils, everything. And he goes through all that, physics, chemistry. The periodic table has to change. He's a chemistry guy, and he's a biology guy, he's a physics guy, he's all that stuff. And that's exactly what I need. And once we can establish those ground rules, we can understand what's really going on. How big is the universe, basically? We were never going to understand that, but I can tell you one thing right now, light slows down and it comes to us. There's no way in the world that the things are as far away as they think they are. The light coming from them is going, and just barely slowing down. By the time it hits us, they think it's because everything's being pulled away because of expansion. No, the light is coming and slowing down, shifting to red. It's very, very simple to understand. They think the universe is a vacuum. It's not. You can see it's just saturated with particles. And as I will show you, light is a particle. So I want to engage respectfully with Professor Dave here. You know, because I'm going to show you this little short video, and he seems like a nice guy. And again, I haven't seen anything he's done yet, but his statements excite me. Let me put it that way. Okay, my friends, this is really going to be really good if he will engage. Now, he claims he has a knack for explaining the things that people don't understand in science and biology and physics and all that. And people don't understand it because, well, we're going to go over that. Why? Now, this is his introduction video, and this kind of impressed me. Now here we go. He's going to make his explanation. Like I say, he claims that he has a knack for making things simple. And I feel like I do too. I show little things like this to show atoms and connections between molecules, and you know, I use very simple things to show very complex issues and the light research, all that stuff. But here's what he has to say. Here goes.
Welcome to Professor Dave Explains. I'm Dave, and this channel is for learning. There are a lot of YouTube channels for learning, but this one is different. I'm not going to dazzle you with science-flavored edutainment that's fun to watch, but falls short at delivering real knowledge. I'm also not going to just stand here and lecture at a blackboard for 2 hours at a time. I want to give you something in between. The shortest, easiest route there has ever been to a working understanding of everything around you, from the infinitesimally small to the incomprehensibly large. I want to teach you chemistry so you can understand atoms and molecules. I want to teach you biochemistry so you can understand big molecules like proteins and DNA. I want to teach you biology so you can understand the components that make up living organisms. I want to teach you physics so you can understand the way the universe works on the most fundamental level. I want to teach you astronomy so you can understand all the fascinating objects we can see in this great big universe. I want to teach you mathematics so you can understand the important calculations that scientists have to perform and reproduce them yourself. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But why bother learning all this stuff? Well, for one thing, when you read about science-related news regarding nutrition or medicine or technology, wouldn't you like to know what's going on? To make informed decisions for yourself, rather than just repeating what others are saying. The only way to get there is to learn the fundamentals, and this channel is the fastest way to do it. I cover typical high school and undergraduate curricula, so if you're a student, stick around. I will explain exactly what you are learning in class in ways that will finally make sense. My tutorials are succinct, with animations geared towards maximizing comprehension rather than amusement, and they stress the most important details while skipping all the fluff. It's like I took your textbook and I'm giving you the Cliff's Notes version in easy-to-watch segments. And the best news is that because I focus on the main concepts, my content is also great for anyone who just wants to learn science without having to go to school or read a lot of books. And no prior knowledge is assumed. I'll start you at the very beginning with general chemistry, and you can climb the ladder from there. You may not find any explosions or songs or flashy gimmicks along the way, but we don't have time for that. We are here to understand the universe, which is pretty fun in its own right. And it doesn't matter who you are either. Education is for everyone, and you should want it, because knowledge is cool. With knowledge comes wisdom, and if everyone can get wise enough, we can mold the world as we see fit. So subscribe to my channel for updates about new content. Support me on Patreon so I can make lots of it as fast as possible, and let's learn some science.
That's why I'm excited. So hopefully, because I see he's debating a whole bunch of people, and I hope he will discuss with me. I don't really want to debate nasty or anything. I just want to say, here's the evidence. Can we discuss it? And then we'll go from there. However it goes, you know. You just saw what he said. He wants to educate people. Now, educate them or indoctrinate them. That's the key. And I don't know anything about him. So I'm gonna start digging into him right now. And I'm gonna bring you with me. This guy, I'm telling you, I'm really liking this. Here he is talking about Billy Carson is even dumber than Terrence Howard. And here he is, Terrence Howard is legitimately insane. And Professor Dave ruins Flat Earth, or Austin somebody. Now, I talked about Terrence Howard and his 1 × 1 = 2. Yes, that's insane. One of anything is one. Now, and then, but he talks about the periodic chart needs to change, and he's absolutely 100% correct. But not because he wants to make spirals and make patterns out of it. No, it's because a hydrogen doesn't consist of 1 proton and 1 electron. It consists of 1,825 or so dipole little tiny magnets, all globbed together in that zone of stability, which is the smallest particle. Anyway, will Professor Dave dispute me? I'm going to go through all his, well, you know, I can go through a couple of them and then we'll see what happens. But I'm going to sort of discuss against him. He's going against these guys, and that's fine. I would too, but nobody listens to me. So, and I did. I talked about these things. But, you know, I'm sort of out in left field here. For some reason, they got me shut down, and I really can't get out of that box. I don't know what I did. Well, I know what I did. I confronted academia, and I was put on all kind of spam lists and all. I mean, I'm showing things that are just phenomenal, and they're just overlooked. So something's not right. I don't know what it is, but these guys get a couple 100,000 hits in a few days I get like 2,000 hits in a week, that type of thing. And I don't know why. I don't think that, well, I know they're not sending out the alerts, the notifications, because I signed up to see, and I don't get them either. So anyway, I don't know what to do about it, but all I can do is do what I'm doing. And hopefully Professor Dave will, making his statements, making his claims, engaging with others, I expect the same treatment. And he can destroy me if he can destroy me. All I want is truth too. And that's what he says he wants. Okay, so this is Professor Dave going to be giving Introduction to Geology. Now, that's fabulous. And he will give you mainstream geology. I watched this, so I'm not going to play it. But I would like to engage with Professor Dave and show him some of the mud fossils and see if he can explain those origins. And knowing now that Yale has also agreed with my mud fossils, saying that exceptional preservation of soft-bodied creatures promoted by silica-rich oceans. This is a new day in geology. As a matter of fact, Yale renamed geology, their geology, into planetary science now. They realize it's not what they thought. And they did a write-up here in their school paper, which is the Yale News, about this discovery of this, after the Ediacara organism, some sort of failed evolutionary experiment, or do they include ancestors of today? They say these were before any other organisms existed, were in this Ediacara range, 540 million years ago. Wow. And it was all on the sea floor, and it was all one layer all around the Earth. So the whole Earth had to be covered by seawater. And it said they were rapidly buried in underwater storm events. Yeah, it was a giant flood. That's amazing. Underwater storm events. And they all died at the same time. There's one layer worldwide. It's red bed from the boiled flesh of the creatures, gray clay from the rest of the bits and pieces, bones and tendons and stuff, organs, and then a black cap, which was all the debris fallout from the volcanoes and burning and all that stuff. And that's what happened. Now, I had submitted all my work to Derek Briggs here, and NASA ended up paying for this grant. Foundation for Complex Life. I submitted all my stuff to NASA too at the same time. This is back in 2015 about fascia facilitated fossilization. And see, here's what they realized, that there was so much silica, and they say because of this happened, they could turn into stone in a matter of hours. Somewhere in here it says it. There was enable the transformation of the sand, well, it was actually mud, around animals to turn into rock to occur over a matter of hours or years. Yes, it was quick, but I don't think it was hours. And it was all because, and they say it was before the animals were entirely soft-bodied. That's just not true. They lived before the evolution of shells, teeth, or bones, which are typically the only parts of an organism to become fossilized. No. That's a foot of something. That's a foot of some kind of human-ish. It has the tibia, and it has where the fibula goes. The fibula stakes right here with three little tendons. You see that? Maybe you can see that little spot right in the center is where the center of it is, and then there's a couple tendons on the side that hold it so you can do all this with your leg. And then, their creatures were giant, exactly what they said in the ancient text. Now, if Dave is willing to talk about all these things, boy, I'll tell you, we could really make some changes. And they're for the good. They're not to hurt anybody. This is knowledge. And he said knowledge is important. Knowledge is power, and it is. And right now, everybody's just led by what they've been told. And now he does a good job explaining what we've been told, but it's like concocted, basically, by everyone that's a leader in their field concocts a story to make them a little bit outstanding. Now, all I do is present evidence. You can concoct whatever you want. All right, but I show bones that turned into stone. They're in the same. I am in the Triassic zone region, and I have a footprint. I showed, or did, maybe I didn't, but I have a footprint of a Triassic. There it is right there. That's in Triassic rock. Step through, the red bed is on the bottom, the gray clay was above, and the black cap came on top of that. Well, guess what? The gray clay got pushed down through the red bed. They were both wet at the same time, the gray and the red bed. And then the black cap came right down on top of all of that. Very, almost instantly, because this is so well preserved. There's no erosion whatsoever. So the whole event happened like within a matter of days, probably, weeks. And it was because everything boiled when Venus almost hit, and it boiled off the flesh. The flesh is the first thing to go, the red bed, red flesh. Then came the rest of the stuff, and plant material and cellulose and all that stuff. And then came the black cap when all the burning fell. And it all just piled up in layers. Worldwide. And they say it. I'm not making this up. This is not my words. Right here. It's in strata worldwide. Yet how the fossils preserve remains controversial. No, I told them exactly how they preserve, and I know exactly how they preserve. It's exceptionally preserved soft-bodied creatures. All right, and then they go on to, make it a little too complicated for the average person to understand what they're saying. But it's silica-rich oceans, and that's because when it almost hit Earth, all the siliceous ooze, which is in the core of the ocean floors, came to the surface and caused all this silicon. And that's what all veins of quartz are. SiO2, silicon dioxide. And it filled in wherever there was holes. Like this little lung, that's a lung. Any doctor would look at it and say, yeah, that sure looks like a lung. And this is the tab that attaches the lung on the end. There's a little triangle that locks that in position. See how this is much different than the rest? Now, they all have a big entrance in the back. I have another lung here, just like this one. All right, and it has that. See it? It's basically the same looking lung. That's the hole where the main feeder of the air goes in. See the cavity in there? I don't know if you can see that or not. But this had the same thing, but it was continuously flooded with the silicates, and it fused in there and filled up the hole with the silicates. This one's, for some reason, bled out and just didn't fill up with anything. It had to be in some kind of a clear water solution, where this was in the ocean issue. In other words, maybe this was up high. I don't know. These are things you got to figure out. But this is not. It's not what they were thinking. And if I would love to engage with Professor Dave in the endeavor to create understanding and knowledge, not to belittle anybody or start fights. I just want somebody to say, what's going on here? Could this possibly be true? And I think I have more than enough evidence to support the fact that it is true. And we right now are not thinking correctly about our past. And right now, there's very, very big concern to think about our past very soon. And especially when you look at Jupiter right now, which is going to be my next video. All right? So, Professor Dave, please, and everybody, I asked, or I will ask, please contact Professor Dave and ask him to talk to me. All right, so here he goes again. He's saying that they're trying to find fossils and footprints. Yes, I've got them from things that were long extinct, and yes,
fossils and footprints of organisms that are now long extinct. Climate scientists interested in understanding our impact on the environment measure, among other things, greenhouse gases trapped inside tiny bubbles from 800,000-year-old ice cores. The impact doesn't even stop at our own planet. The understanding of Earth provided by geologists acts as the framework that planetary scientists use to study outflow channels on Mars.
Okay, there we go again. This is mainstream. This is not an outflow channel. This was an impact where Venus impacted Mars. Again, recorded by Velikovsky and every culture on the planet. They all knew this happened.
Crater topography on the moon, and unique features of exoplanets that are continually being discovered.
Mars crab, Mars Morse code, Mars blueberries. Let's talk, Dave.
So, as you can see, geology is not just about looking at rocks.
Exactly.
It is as rich and multifaceted as any other scientific discipline. As we mentioned, geology utilizes concepts in chemistry, physics, and mathematics, and an understanding of basic concepts from these fields will be assumed as we move through this geology series. When we talk about the structure of various minerals, we won't be reviewing chemistry concepts regarding atomic and molecular structure. And when we talk about large-scale geological events, we won't be reviewing physics terminology regarding forces and energy.
We don't need to review that. We just need to know that this is biology. When you see these layers like that, that's not just layers from nothing. Those layers of tissue. And they're very, very easy to understand if you just take a look, take a little time to look at it. And that's what Professor Dave claims to want to do. So, again, this is so hard for the average academic to accept that normally they won't respond. Now, we'll see what happens. Because I want to be respectful.
Nor the basic algebra that is sometimes required to discuss these phenomena quantitatively. So if you need to brush up on any of these subjects, my playlists in general chemistry, classical physics, and mathematics will be of great use. But otherwise, when we encounter a topic that assumes such prior knowledge, I will always link to the relevant tutorial using cards that appear in the upper right corner of the screen, in case you need a brief refresher. But whatever your current level of knowledge, if you're invigorated by the thought of learning all about this beautiful planet we all live on, let's start learning geology.
Yes, indeed. Professor Dave, I'm with you, buddy.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.
I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping that he will respond. I'm going to email him. And I hope everybody else does. Now, I need you. Here's something I really want to make a point about. I need you people to help me because I can't get my word out. I have been put on so many spam lists and decline. Don't open this. This is scary. Your machine will explode if you open it. I'm really pretty much shut down. So he may not get my stuff. So I don't want to. I want him to respond, but he may not get it. So you're the ones that are going to have to be sure that he hears from you that Roger wants to speak to him. And he just said right here. He says, Professor Dave Explains @gmail.com. So please, my friends, everybody says, I want to help, what can I do? Email Professor Dave and ask him to debate with me, to discuss with me. And I'll do it very, very respectfully. And because I understand the mainstream. I mean, I fully understand what they're saying. And when you look at these things that I explain because of their biology, nobody would have ever suspected this. I don't cast any aspersions on anybody because nobody would expect it. Nobody could possibly expect it. It's just too phenomenal. But when you read the ancient mythology, and he talks about the ancient Greeks, how they saw things in geology and everything. He seems like a pretty thorough guy, but he's just sort of saying the same thing that mainstream says, only trying to make it comfortably understandable. And you can't understand it. It's not true. So that's what I need to talk to him about. Please help me. Professor Dave Explains ProfessorDaveExplains at gmail.com. All right, and ask him if he'll correspond with Roger Spurr at Mudfossil University. And I will be extremely respectful, and I will, because I'm understanding of the fact that he has been led to believe all these things, and he studied, obviously studied to what he was told was reality. But this is what I want to discuss. Is it reality? I don't think so. So I'm hoping for the best on this. Now I'm going to just go ahead and start reviewing his videos and explaining them. Like geology, I say no. I say no, that's just not right. I say geology is biology. And I understand biology, I understand the chemistry, I understand the physics, I understand light, I understand geology, I understand everything. So all the ancient texts. That's why he sounds like a guy. I mean, did you see the list of things he does? He does everything. It's exactly what I need. Because mostly they just say, oh, I don't know anything about that. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Well, he's the kind of guy I need. All right, I love you all. Please email him and ask him to engage with Roger Spurr at Mudfossil University. And my email is Roger, R-O-G-E-R, no D, R-O-G-E-R, at mudfossils with an S.com. All right, and I will put a link to it at the end of this video somewhere on the description or somewhere, how to get a hold of me. And maybe we can move this thing forward. That's what I'm hoping for. Somebody finally to engage. And I'm hoping Professor Dave will do it. So let's find out. Don't forget, please help me out. And start putting thumbs up. I'm not getting enough thumbs up there. They're not even advertising my videos anymore. They stopped advertising my videos. I mean, they stopped even putting out notifications, and as far 90% of them aren't notified. Now I don't know whether they have some algorithm that says people like this stuff, so I'll send out the notifications, or I have no idea how it works, but it's just not working. So it doesn't matter how it works, it ain't working. I love you all. Please, all right, that's what I'm asking.